On the phone line, we have State Senator Tim Sheldon. Morning, Tim.
Hi, Vicki. Hi, Jeff. How are you, guys?
Good morning,
We're doing
Tim.
well this morning. Cutoff day for fiscal bills in the legislature today. Halfway through already. What's your grade you give the legislative session so far?
I would say it's been a fast pace. I'd give it a 100 miles an hour grade.
All right, that's good. I mean,
usually,
getting stuff done.
Usually the short session is a little bit slower, but because majorities change, there's pin-up demand, and people are very interested in getting their bill out. So I think the numbers of bills are way up.
Yeah, it sounds like
I forget the number. So it's been real busy, and it'll be busy today, especially until 5 o'clock when those bills need to be out of committee.
One of the notes I saw, you voted in favor of the $10 per ton carbon tax to come out of committee. You made mention, though, in the Times, Seattle Times, that you weren't going to vote for it on the floor. Talk to me a little bit about the thoughts on that.
Okay, well, this is a very controversial issue.
Yeah.
The Inslee proposal is to tax, basically put a gas tax on and an energy tax, which would be on your electric bill. So the other side, what I'm trying to balance this with, is an initiative that will most likely come out in 2018 in November. Mm-hmm. And the initiative by the environmental community could be much worse. Could set a standard, say, for example, that we would have all renewable sources of power by a certain date. And that's just not possible. I mean, you have to have some baseload power. The sun doesn't shine and the wind doesn't blow quite a bit of time during the day. So I voted for it in committee. I will not vote for it on the floor, but I want the conversation to continue about how we can come to some agreement with the people that want to put the initiative on the ballot. And I'm very afraid that if an initiative goes on the ballot, it would pass and be devastating for my constituents.
So you're able to keep it basically in-house. I was talking to my wife a little bit about this last night. So it's puts, if the initiative process is put forth, like you're saying, it could be $20 per ton. Or, I mean, they could really do anything. And if they get enough support, it comes on the ballot. And then y'all are then holding the bag trying to figure out how to pay for this?
Well, yes, and what the environmental community is backed by some very big dollars. Mm-hmm. This guy Sire down in California. You've got billionaires that will fund the campaign on an initiative. It will get enough signatures, paid signatures, because of the paid signature gatherers. It'll be on the ballot. It will say something like, "Do you think should polluters be charged a fee?" Now, that doesn't say tax, but it says fee. So, yeah, if you're a big polluter, you should have to pay. Well, that will translate to a big increase in your costs at the pump, at the light switch, whatever you use, how much energy you consume at home, and related industries as well. It'll drive up prices. So, Steyer and these guys, they're very smart and devious. But if we can still talk about this in the legislature, because my vote just sent the bill to the Ways and Means Committee, we'll see if it comes out today. I doubt I really would, say there's no chance of this proposal passing the legislature. But we got to start coming to grips with this initiative, and maybe we can influence either its formation or its what's in it, and that's scary.
Talk to me a little bit about what the ideas are on benefits and negatives to the folks in the 35th. If there's increased gas taxes, perhaps, of course, that we do travel a lot in the 35th.
Right.
But overall, is there a large number of the population that would be impacted by this?
Oh, yeah, I know they would. We're the most rural district in the state. You wouldn't think that, but we don't have a lot of incorporated cities. So people don't live in Tacoma and work in Tacoma, for example. We live in Shelton and work at the Navy base in Bremerton. there's 45-50% of us that leave the county every day just to go to work. So we have one of the longest commutes in the state, and that's measured on time, how much time you spend in the vehicle, which is well over 30 minutes on an average to get to work. So it would impact our driving time and our fuel consumption. We drive bigger vehicles. We drive pickups. We drive others that SUVs that are gas guzzlers, basically. And some of the industries that we work in, forestry and others, could be taxed heavily under a proposal. So then the companies are going to say, well, how big is my workforce? Can I cut back a little bit to keep my costs down? It would be a job killer as well, and some industries could be singled out as benign, and some industries could be singled out as big polluters. So when you look at it overall, the state of Washington has a very, very green footprint. We are as green as any state. I think Vermont and Washington are the two most green, environmentally friendly states in the country. Our power primarily comes from our dams on the Columbia River. And what's not environmental about falling water? You know, it's renewable. And if we get an initiative, for example, that says that as it is now, that considers hydropower not renewable, that really would be tough on us. And it would be a tough one, a tough sell here in Mason County. And people said, "Oh, Sheldon, how could you vote for it?" I mean, well, what I want to do is get a good discussion going so people understand this is the alternative. We've got to find some common ground here, and I think it's possible because we've got another 30 days in this session.
I'm going to bring it back locally here. We just heard that one of your former compatriots, County Commissioner Terri Drexler, won't be continuing on, deciding to go back into the private life. She's been on the County Commission board with you for a term or two. Talk to me a little bit about your time working with her.
Well, Terry's been good to work with. You know, she and I have a little bit different philosophy about spending, and I wasn't a willing participant in the last few budgets because I think the county is in a tough spot. We have not recovered from the recession in the 2007-2008 like other counties, and we have a very small tax base. So it is a very hard job, I'll have to say, to balance the interests of the county when you have very unstable revenue. And, you know, when you get a couple murders in Mason County, which sometimes we've had up as many as 9 murders in a year, this is extremely expensive. A not guilty plea can mean $1 million to the county to try that individual. We have, again, struggle with real estate excise taxes, although they're a little bit better, and they're on the tax on the sale of homes. But, you know, go to Kitsap County and see the activity that's going on right now, or Thurston County. It's an amazing change for them. They're building large apartment houses. Other businesses are going in. We're still, you know, just kind of simmering along here in our economy, and that doesn't result in a lot of building fees, for example, or real estate excise tax. So we're always, for the near future here, we're gonna be more directed towards tourism. That's been pretty good for us. That's probably on the bright side, but you know, for manufacturing, which really creates jobs and then secondary jobs in our economy, we have lost manufacturing jobs over the last 10 years for sure. So I think we have to realize that the voters as well. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this new school bond that's on the ballot for Pioneer and Hood Canal. The last two ballot measures countywide were the parks, and then the county measure they had were right in the mid-30s for approval. That's dismal. You know, so people not willing to spend. They're not being able to keep up here in Mason County like other counties right now. Some people call me and they say, Sheldon, I finally paid off my mortgage, but now my property taxes are going up and they're higher than the mortgage payment I had. Your mortgage payment is level. It might be level for 25, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
But your property taxes and your cost of living have skyrocketed, and we have a base of retired people here. We have a base of people that are commuters that are leaving each day to go to work somewhere else. They're spending dollars in another county before they come back.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing their shopping someplace else, and now, I will be surprised. I'll just make you a prediction, Jeff and Vicki. I'll be surprised if Shelton Hills develops the retail that they're talking about. Because look at retail. Retail is shopping centers are losing interest. People are shopping online more and more. When you can buy it at Amazon and you can have it shipped to the post office and pick it up the next day, the world is changing very, very fast, and it'd be tough for investors to pour money into brick and mortar for a retail development, I think, along Highway 101 right now.
State Senator Tim Sheldon with a lot to leave us thinking about here this morning. We'll check back in with you next week. It's always nice talking with you, Tim.